What's up, guys? It's Austin from Yu-Gi-Oh! Theory, and today I'm going to have a combo guide on the Burning Abyss. They don't have like a whole lot of combos, and their combos aren't like too complicated, so I thought I'd do a combo guide on this just to like maybe give you some tips or something if you're having trouble with it. So these are going to be fairly basic combos, but this is like the PK variant, so some of these combos are going to be PK oriented, but let's just get right into it. So the first combo I want to talk about is just easy Burning Abyss removal. So all you need for this is just a Fiendish Rhino plus any Burning Abyss monster. It doesn't even have, well, yeah, it kind of does have to be a Burning Abyss monster because you have to make Dante to detach it. But let's just say it's a Skarm. So these are you have other cards in your hand, but pretend this is it. This is actually getting any Burning Abyss monster to the graveyard, but if you're going second, you would rather have the removal. So you just overlay for these, for my boy Dante. You detach the Fiendish Rhino, and when you do this, this goes to the graveyard. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize how off-center that was. But you detach the Fiendish Rhino, he goes to the graveyard, and now you have a decision to make. You can send one to your graveyard, and which one you send depends on what type of situation you're in. In this situation, the one I'm talking about specifically, you're going second and there's a monster you need to get rid of so you can attack directly with Dante. So it doesn't matter what you mill, but just for argument's sake, let's say you mill these three. So that's okay. I mean, that card's pretty good. You can special summon one from your hand if you have one. But let's just say this is all you drew and the rest is cards that wouldn't work for this combo or wouldn't help out. And what you'd send is a Farfa to get rid of things. So you just banish it until the end phase, then attack directly for 25 if that's all they had, which is probably not all they had, but let's just, for the argument's sake, let's say it is. Or you can use this effect to send Seer or Graph, so just for easy special summons and stuff. This is just like one of the most common combos that just open up a lot of other combos in your deck, and it's just a really good combo in general. And then you could also just discard a Burning Abyss monster, then overlay Beatrice on top of this, and it becomes even more powerful. So that's you could do a lot with this. But yeah, that's like the first combo. It's probably like one of the most basic because you would be doing it all the time. Next, let's go into like a more of a control-based combo. So all you need for this, just Vanity's Fiend and any Burning Abyss monster. It does not matter what it is. So you just use this one's effect to special summon it, and then tribute it for Vanity's Fiend, and you end your turn. And if you draw 3 Burning Abyss monsters, you can special summon all 3 of them, overlay for a Dante, use this effect to detach, and then get all the advantage you'll get off of that. Possibly discard a card to make Beatrice, and then tribute the last one to make a Vanity's Fiend. So it's very, very easy to make Vanity's Fiend in this deck. But for the purposes of this video, all you need to do this is just any Burning Abyss monster and a Vanity's Fiend. Or maybe like you could use it with like a Fog Blade too. So let's just say a Fog Blade in the graveyard will work too, but the easiest way to do it like first turn is this. If you don't like mill a Fog Blade plus a Phantom Knight monster. So speaking of, we're going to go into our next combo, which is Phantom Knight oriented. So all you really need to have is just these 3. And you don't even really, well, this one isn't really have to be this card. It can be any Phantom Knight card really. Phantom Knight, Fog Blade, you don't really need it in your hand to do this. It has to be activated on a monster, but it's not very hard to do that. So what you basically do is you just normal summon this one, use his effect since you control a Phantom Knight to special summon him, and then you can overlay for Break Sword. So let's assume this is going second, so sometimes going second Break Sword is the optimal play if they don't have that many monsters. But you summon Break Sword, and you use its effect to pop the Fog Blade, plus whatever the Fog Blade is targeting. So you can still use the Break Sword, and then you can detach probably this one, and then you can vanish it to search out another Fog Blade, set it, activate it next turn, and then do it again if the Break Sword survives. Which it has a good chance of surviving because this card, when it's attached to a dark monster, it gains 1,000 attack, so it puts Break Sword up to 3,000, and even if you detach him, he still has that effect because it says if it's overlaid using this card, the card gains this effect. And then also you can always use Break Sword's own effect whenever you get sent to the graveyard to special summon these 2 back as little 4s, and then you can overlay for Dark Rebellion Dragon. that's like the most popular Burning Abyss play, just because it makes it where you can attack over a bunch of things. So that helps out a lot, actually, getting over big monsters, because Burning Abyss have trouble getting over big monsters, and I have a lot of cards in the extra deck to help like kind of sort that out, because it is like a problem. But and then next, let's just have just ending with a Beatrice. This is also a very basic combo. All you need for this is it can be these two cards plus a Burning Abyss monster. It can be these two cards plus a Burning Abyss monster, or this card plus two Burning Abyss monsters, or it can be Tour Guide plus a Burning Abyss monster. So that's another thing. I guess I could pull Tour Guide out of my deck real quick to show you wherever the hell I did with my deck. Oh, here it is. It's upside down. The table I'm using is black and the card sleeves are black. So you can always just normal summon Tour Guide and special summon out, but it all accomplishes the same thing. So let's go with the Tour Guide variant, just because it's probably the easiest to follow. But all you do is just normal summon Tour Guide. You'd probably want to summon Skarm, just because searching is a little bit better than special summoning in this case, because whatever you special summon is probably going to get destroyed unless you have like a Fiendish Rhino on the field, or in some other cases, I'm not exactly sure, like a skill drain up that could also help out a lot. But all you do is just normal summon this, special summon this from your deck if you don't have it in your hand. I suggest you special summon from your deck. You overlay for Dante. Detach this. It doesn't matter what you mill again. Discard any Burning Abyss monster from your hand, then overlay into Beatrice. And then that's just basically the basic Beatrice play. And then usually Beatrice is backed up by a bunch of not fog blades, but a bunch of like floodgates and things like that, like skill drain and I guess fog blade, but it's not really a floodgate, it's more of just disruption. But same, it's just usually backed up by a bunch of stuff. And then a Beatrice by itself is also very powerful. Sorry, I didn't even illustrate that with the cards, but Beatrice by itself is very powerful because you can always attach one to send one. So you could send a Farfa to banish something. You can send an Alec to negate an effect. You can send just a plethora of different cards to do different things. That's the reason I like playing BA a lot, just because of the versatility it has. It can deal with a lot of problems. The only thing that BA really suffers against is decks that have cards that can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Mostly targeted, since like every BA card effect of targets. And it's kind of like troubling to me, because it actually comes up a lot where I can't target things. And that's one reason I think that BA has kind of fell off a little bit, just because most of their card effects target. So they have trouble dealing with things that can't be targeted, which that's actually a lot of cards these days. Well, not a lot of cards, but there's enough of them out there that it makes it where they can't really do as well. So I'm just going to do a quick little test hand real quick, just because I think I have enough time. Let's see. Yeah, I should have enough time to do like a little quick test hand and then see what I would do with that hand. So let's assume we're going first, because that's like the optimal play for this deck, is going first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see what we got. So, okay, this is our hand. Not the worst, but also not that good. You'd probably want to discard this with Twin Twisters, but since you're going first, you wouldn't, you'd have to do that next turn. But setting the warning and the fog blade, that's not that bad. And then you have a Twin Twisters too, so this is a much more defensive hand. Since there's not really much to do with this, I guess I'll redraw, just because I kind of want it to be more than like a minute. Let's try that again. Of course, when I record it, I draw a bad hand. 4, 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This time we're going second. Let's just say that. So, and see, I just drew a really good going first hand, because you drew the Vanities, which is really good. You drew the Farfa, which is decent. You drew the Rhino, which is good. The Foolish Burial, which is really good, and 2 Phantom Knights. So that's really good, including this one. This one's like the most important to see in your hand. You don't really want it to be this one, but if it is, it doesn't matter really. But that's just really good in general, because you can just activate Foolish, send like Graph. Well, yeah, I guess I did say I'd play it out. So let's just activate Foolish, to send Graph to the graveyard. Nope, that's a little bit. Oh, Graph. So send Graph, his effect goes off to special summon one. You probably want to special summon either Seer or Skarm, but I'm going to special summon Seer just because I'm about to overlay with it. So just special summon it in defense. It's always wise just to special summon things in defense in general. So, yep, you get that, and then the Foolish Burial goes away. Then you can special summon the Farfa. Yeah, special summon the Farfa. Overlay for Dante. Uses effects to detach the Seer. It special summons the Graph back. You'd mill 3, so you mill that, and that. So that just actually turned into a really good hand because you can banish this to add a Fog Blade to your hand, which I'm going to do. So boom, Fog Blade. And then you activate the Seer's effect, special summon. Oh, yeah, I already did that. Never mind. So you special summon the Graph. So you add this to your hand. So you have a Fog Blade set, so that's good. And then you can tribute the Graph for the Vanity's Fiend, and that's your normal summon. It's too bad you drew a bunch of other normal summons. Since you're going second, instead of a Dante, you could make a Phantom Knight. So that'd make it where you could special summon this back. Since that is a Phantom Knight monster, you can always special summon this from your hand. So you could have done that, but I always like ending on a Dante just because he's a little bit better in a lot of situations just because of the mills that you might get. Like this time, for instance, I got that mill that got me the Fog Blades. That helped out a lot. Probably in the long run of the game, other than just popping a card, because that card offers some control over things, whereas popping a card is a little like, it's like impact short term, but not really impact long term. You don't really stun your opponent out as much, and that's like sort of the goal of Burning Abyss a little bit, just to outlast your opponent, just because this deck has such good endurance, if that's what you would call it in Yu-Gi-Oh. I've been playing the Elder Scrolls Legends of Skyrim card game a lot on my phone, and I've been using like those terms lately in like different card games. It's a pretty good game, guys. You should go download it. It is really fun. They took out multiplayer, which is really puzzling to me. I don't know why. Multiplayer was like the funnest thing, like where you could play your friends. Like they match you randomly now, but used to they matched you randomly, and you could also have friends that you could like start matches with and like just play with them specifically. But it's kind of lame they took that out. But anyway, enough about that. I hope you guys found some of these combos helpful, and if you didn't know them, then that's great. If you did, that's great too. Maybe you could show this video to someone who's just picking up BA to help them understand them better maybe. But if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.